Hi and welcome, or welcome back to the channel. I'm Jen with Bohemian Path Tarot, and today we're just doing a quick sort of Ides of July reading, sort of a mid-July reading. I've got rune cards here. I've got the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and then I've also got my first tarot deck. This is the Aquarian Tarot. I've had it for 30 years, if you can believe it, so it's got a lot of really good mojo. I am going to pull one card from each deck for each of the signs, and I'll put timestamps in the description box below. I recommend you check out the segment for each of your placements, sun, moon, and rising. You're welcome to check, any placement you'd like, but those tend to be the strongest ones. Now, of course, these are general readings for a general audience, so it's not quite the same as getting a one-to-one personal reading. Sometimes these readings are they really resonate. Sometimes it's just a general nugget of wisdom or inspiration. But I thank you so much for dropping by, and I'm going to go ahead and give these decks a really good shuffle. Feel free to jump ahead. I'll see you there. Okay, Aries, let's see what we've got. We'll start with the runes. Manaz. Manaz is all about the importance of being a part of a community, knowing that you have a place, not only with your family, not only that you have a role to play, but you have folks to reach out to. The Fool. New beginnings, new journeys, new vistas. No place like home. This is so interesting because Manaz and the No Place Like Home really echo each other, right? But then in the middle, you've got this card that's really about seeking new vistas. That's more of the leaving home or doing things, doing new things, taking risks, leaving the tried and true behind and trying something new. I do think for some of you, there is a return to home. You might have gone out into the world or gone through an experience, and now it's time for you to return to the fold. Like if you've made a name for yourself, or you've maybe gone out and gone to school, and now it's time to go back to your own community and show them what you've learned, or set out your shingle, bring your skill set back to your home community. Or it could be the sort of thing where the life that you created outside of your home community or away from your family has run its course, and it's time to return to home, either to take care of yourself, to maybe heal some wounds or recoup or something of that nature, maybe after a breakup of a relationship or a breakdown of the ending of a business or a closing of a business, something like that. Or it could be to take care of a family member who might be ailing or might need some help, or helping a family member close a business, something of that nature. But it looks like there's a new phase of life or a new role for you within your family or community. The last thing I would say, the last way this could show up is for those of you who may have just graduated. This could be the last sort of maybe summer you check in, you go home and kind of recoup or kind of get your game plan together before you launch yourself into your new life. There could be like a family reunion or a reunion with friends, the sort of life you knew before school, refreshing those kind of connections, but knowing you're about to go out in the world and build new connections. That doesn't discount the old connections or change the old connections. You'll still have the old connections to rely on. Your family members and your friends will always be that foundation as you move forward to the next phase. Aries, I hope that's helpful. I hope that's inspiring. I wish you all the best. Until next time, bye for now. Taurus, we'll start with your rune. Ooh, we have a jumper. Berkana, we'll take it. That's also a very Taurus rune, by the way. It's the rune of nurturing, of inspiring growth. Ooh, another jumper. The star. Oof. Finally, from the wisdom of the oracle. Oh. Well, wow, okay. Taurus, I am jealous of your reading. We have the Fates. Let me tell you what strikes me about this particular reading, Taurus. It's so interesting. There's kind of a push-pull between these two cards. Berkana is about nurturing. It's about growth. It's about bringing something that you want to bring into the world. And it's sort of about your own expression. It's about sort of giving life to something and supporting something that you want to see more of. While this card from the Wisdom of the Oracles deck is about being able to accept something that you can't change, that you don't have control over. So they're it's kind of not polar opposites, but being able to know that it's like that serenity prayer, right? And being able to recognize when there are things that you can change and when there are things that you can't change, the wisdom to know the difference. There's a more eloquent way to say that, but this is that serenity prayer is in your reading. So if you're not familiar with it, I would go ahead and look it up. But talking about the Star card, this is one of my favorite cards in the tarot deck. The Star card is a reason to be hopeful, and it is sort of a wish card in that it's like a green light from the universe. It suggests that a time of chaos or a time of conflict is behind you now. It's sort of the light at the end of the tunnel. It's being able to trust that what you can visualize, what you can hope for, what you kind of put your energy towards and walk towards can be yours. You just have to keep working towards it. This actually, these two are very much in sync. They're in harmony. That you can nurture something, that you can bring something to life. Right? This is being hopeful. This is having faith in a benevolent universe. And this is that piece where, if you can't change something, that's not, there are certain things that you can't change, but that's not your fault. If it's not changeable, that it wasn't yours to alter, like, maybe this is a crazy analogy, but I'm struck by the gold stars in this card. Let me see if I can give you a better. It's a little bit. Oh, come into focus. Well, there are gold stars. Maybe you'll just have to trust me. There we go. She's surrounded by beautiful gold stars, and gold is very malleable. It's actually like very easy to mold. That's something you can change, and jewelers can very easily work with it to create beautiful things. There are other metals or rocks, that are harder to work with, that don't make beautiful things. So I would say just just remember to work with the gold. That's a terrible analogy maybe, but there are things that you can change and work with, and there are things that are not for you to change, and just keep working towards those things that are for you to work with, and believe in the benevolent universe that has your back, that will allow you to express and work with those beautiful things that you are meant to adorn yourself with, the beautiful golden things that you are meant to work with and adorn yourself with. I hope that's helpful, Taurus. In any case, it really does it does look like you're entering a new sort of lovely, benevolent, sort of beautiful phase, as long as you remember, there are things you don't have to force, or if it requires too much force, it's not a thing that you are meant to change. How about that? In any case, thank you so much for dropping by, Taurus. Take good care. Gemini, we are starting with your rune card. Oop, here we go. I was. Okay, taking that one. Now we'll pull the tarot card. I was is about change and transition and moving forward. Let's see how that connects with your other cards. Oh, we have a bunch of jumpers. I'm going to take the one that landed on your rune. Moon. No, Well, we'll take this anyway. Don't tell the other signs that you get a bonus card. Magician. That's 2 major arcana. Now, let's go with the... oh, we got 2 jumpers. Please, this is just between you and me, Gemini. Co-create and yin. Okay. Wow. So I'm struck by yin and the moon kind of echoing each other, and the magician and co-create echoing each other. So there's so much stuff here, in part because there's so many cards, but also because this is a really loaded rune. So I'm struggling to kind of condense it into one, and I'm failing. So I'll just blurt it all out. So Iwas is related to progress and moving forward, as I mentioned before, for a few reasons. It's related to Odin, who is kind of a mystical shaman, keeper of knowledge character, like the magician here. And Odin's, the story of Odin has, I won't go into the whole story, but his myth also has him related to a yew tree. And yew trees are the trees that are connected to making bows for hunting. And so for that reason, Iwas is connected to hunting with like an arrow. So that's another reason why it's connected to making progress, is for the, you know, like with the shooting of an arrow, the arrow shoots, and that's kind of like progress, like that movement of an arrow. So that's part of the sort of imagery to have in your head as sort of the movement of an arrow. That said, there's also a piece here of this kind of murky piece. There's both pieces of change and creation and knowledge and taking action, you know, and shooting your arrow. But there's also this other piece, this murky piece of like being able to sit with uncertainty. And that's also in the myth of Odin. So I'm trying to sum this, kind of bring this story together. So the moon card is related to, you know, mysteries, right? Just like the sun illuminates, and when we're in the light of day, we can see everything in the path in front of us. But at night, under the moon, a path can look very different. It can even look scary. Sometimes our own backyard can be filled with dangers we don't see at night. Maybe not dangers, but we can, well, it can be dangerous if we don't see sticks or snakes in our own backyard. And so sometimes we have to go slower in the moonlight, or we have to avoid certain areas in the moonlight, or we have to sit we have to, there are just things we can't be aware of until the sun comes out again. So the moon is associated sometimes with kind of not knowing or not having the final answer. And the yin card also has a piece of that, where there's the waiting for a result, or waiting for that final invitation. However, in the magician and in co-create and in Iwas, there's the piece of shooting your arrow, of making a move, of visualizing the thing that you want and taking your shot. So Gemini, I would say, you know, part of this is my own excitement or bad shuffling. Let's not say that, because this all came out for a reason, right? So there's something that you have that is in your mind, or something that you are about to take your shot at, that you have the talent and the wherewithal to, you know, go for. But it looks like in the next phase, the sort of final piece is not yet written. You might not get the answer you want in the next week or two, but that's not because that doesn't mean there's a failure, or that you haven't yet resolved it, or you won't get the thing that you want, or the thing that you're aiming your arrow at. It's just that the answer isn't complete, or the invitation isn't coming as quickly as you wanted. I think you're going to have to wait until the sun comes up, which I would interpret to be a little later, like in August. That's when we get into Leo season. The moon would be more associated with Cancer season, and we're about to move into Leo season, so it won't be too long, like a couple more weeks. But whatever you're working on this week, whatever you're shooting your arrow at this week, like if you're applying for something this week, or if you have an interview, or you ask your crush out, maybe you don't connect quite this week, but maybe whatever it is you're aiming at, come August, you'll have more success, or get more of the answer you want. Whew, that was a long way around. But I hope that's helpful, Gemini. In any case, thank you so much for stopping by. Take good care of yourself. Bye for now. Cancer. We're going to start with your rune card. Okay. Rado. This is a card of travel. It can literally mean travel. It can mean new opportunities. Oops. Now we'll move on to your tarot card. High Priestess. Finally, card from the Wisdom of the Oracle. Chop wood. Cancer, what I'm seeing in this reading is sort of something going on behind the scenes with you. It looks like you may be keeping a sort of a secret, or keeping something on the down low. Something maybe kind of significant that you're keeping to yourself for now. Your rune here suggests an opportunity or a big change on the horizon, something you're looking forward to. Your tarot card, the character in the tarot card, is actually looking towards this change. So it literally looks like it's something that you are looking for, something you want. You may be taking steps in a kind of out of a sense of maybe self-protection. You're looking for a sort of an opportunity, or you're taking steps towards this new opportunity or this change or this move, or this other goal. And in the meantime, there's this other sort of mundane piece just kind of going along. Chop wood, the card that you got from the Wisdom of the Oracle, is just kind of taking pleasure in the mundane, having the kind of day-to-day experience and being okay with that. So, and of course, the High Priestess has kind of got her back to that. So even though this is happening, the focus is more on this new opportunity. Now, the High Priestess is a character that has, inner wisdom and is interested in gaining knowledge, is interested in gaining special knowledge. This could be, this new opportunity could be going back to school, or getting, furthering an education some way, or getting a new license or something like that. That it could be connected directly to the High Priestess in that way. But it could just be that this knowledge that you already have is leading to this need to move, something that you already know or are already aware of, requires a sort of move, a need to change, a need to move on. In traditional depictions of the High Priestess, she is between two pillars. Usually it's like a white pillar and a black pillar. There's a lot of symbolism in the High Priestess. She's on a throne. There's a scroll in her lap. There's a stream behind her. There's all this very specific symbolism around the High Priestess, because she's a very sort of significant character and a very symbolically specific character. But the thing I'm struck by is this sort of duality that's also typically depicted in most illustrations of the High Priestess, that's also happening in your reading here, Cancer, this duality. And I get the feeling that there's a sort of duality in your life right now, not because you're two-faced, but out of necessity, out of a sense of self-preservation. I think what this reading, especially what this rune is saying, is that this risk is going to have to come out in the open. You know that anyway. A bigger risk is going to have to be taken. Eventually this sort of duality is unsustainable. But for the moment, it looks like a few more weeks or a few more months of this kind of straddling the fence. I don't know. I think somebody needs to hear this, that the home is not yet ready, but it's not far away. Yeah, I think this is just kind of validating the experience of the moment And the actual change is down the road a bit, like maybe the fall. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, because it looks like for some people the change just isn't available or ready yet. And for some folks, a bigger risk has to be taken in order for the change to happen. And I think those for those of you in this position, you know which camp you're in. So Cancer, I wish you all the best. I support you. I see you. Please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. Here we go, Leo. We're going to start with your rune card. Wunjo, that makes perfect sense with your birthday coming up. This is the card of joy and celebration. It is a party card. And we're moving to your tarot card. Ooh, we have a jumper. Oh, we have two. Oh, we have three. Oh, no. Oh dear, this is not, it makes it harder, but we're going to take them because it's your birthday. Two of Rods, Four of Rods, Wheel of Fortune. Don't tell the other signs. I get in trouble when I do this. Okay. My apologies for the glare. I haven't quite figured out how to light things at night, but this is when I need to do the readings. So, and then finally we'll take a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle. Oops. Just one. Oh, well, that makes sense too. Nice. Leo, it's about time. So we got the milk and honey. And actually, so Wunjo, Four of Rods, milk and honey, totally related, totally harmonious, totally in tandem. And we can, you know, put the Wheel of Fortune in there too. And Two of Rods is not a bad card. It's just kind of a little bit on its own sort of journey. Oh my goodness, Leo, I got through your whole reading. And as I'm gathering up the cards, I look at the camera and I realize at some point it had shut off. So I don't know where it shut off. I don't know how much of the reading I got through. So I'm going to go through all of it again because it is so awesome. I don't want you to miss a single delicious bit. Let's start with Wunjo, which is the rune of celebration and joy. It is like the party card. It is good times. It is positivity. It is brightness. It is, you know, P for party, something to celebrate with your friends, and the perfect rune to get right before your birthday season. And echoing that is the Four of Rods or the Four of Wands. Again, a party card. This could be your birthday. This could be a graduation. This could be an engagement announcement, a wedding. This could be an opening night party for something like a community theater play, a closing night party. any sort of celebratory event where you're celebrating something you are or something you've accomplished with friends or family or all of the above. And that is also kind of echoed here with the card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, Milk and Honey. That is like a time when you experience abundance brought about by your own sort of achievement. It's like when you have worked to accomplish or achieve enough stability to cover your needs and then some. So it's like having come to a place where you can feel stable and safe and even treat yourself. So again, it's a happy, safe, also a celebratory card, because what you have in this safety, in this, place where your needs are met, you have done, you have achieved, you have brought this about. Again, the Four of Rods, while it is celebratory, it's celebrating you, something you have done or something you have achieved or something about you, right? Now let's talk about these other two tarot cards that had to be seen. And looking at the Wheel of Fortune, I always struggle with the Wheel of Fortune card because, there's this element of sort of luck to it. And I don't love the element of luck because I very much believe in, being a co-creator to the universe. Sometimes people go to tarot readers or turn to oracle cards because they want to hear what their fortune is or want to hear what's going to happen for them or to them. But I very much believe that our lives are just as dependent on our own participation and the choices that we make, right? We have to go out and take action steps and visualize and approach our crush and apply for the job that we want and that sort of thing. Life doesn't just happen to us. However, there are times when we just hit a run where things are a little bit easier, where nice things happen, or nicer things happen, more pleasant things happen, and that's what the Wheel of Fortune speaks to. It's kind of a run of more pleasant times or better luck. It's the sort of thing where, there's a muffin basket or bagels in the kitchen at the office when maybe you've even forgotten your lunch or something like that. It's a really good example of this was recently for me. I made a purchase online at a store that I rather like, and I got a really good deal. There was a bunch of stuff on sale, and I treated myself, and I was very pleased with the price I got because I thought I got a really good deal. And after the items had shipped, I got an email from that store, and I was kind of bummed. I was like, oh no, one of my items must be sold out or something. And when I read the email, I found out that there was a further discount on a number of the items. So they refunded me an additional amount. So I got some money back. So that kind of speaks to some of the pleasant, good luck that comes with the Wheel of Fortune. When the Wheel of Fortune comes up, people want to hear that, they'll win the lottery or be discovered by a Hollywood agent. And well, I suppose those things could happen. It's really not the most likely scenario. What's most likely to happen is more green lights, or like I said, the muffin basket in the kitchen at the office. Or maybe it's easier to meet likelier matches on dating apps if you're a single person. Or you might win a drawing, like at your kid's school fair or something like that. You know, smaller stakes wins. It's not so much like winning millions of dollars, but it is a time when small wins and more pleasant times are likely to occur. Okay, I've spent enough time on the Wheel of Fortune. I think you get the idea there. It is a positive time, and there are more positive opportunities available, but you do have to go out and meet the world to experience those positive experiences, to make the best use of this positive influence. Okay, so enough about that. Let's go with the Two of Rods or Two of Wands. Now, you can even see in this card, this fellow is a very thoughtful fellow. He's looking into the future. This is someone who has some ideas, has some goals. Gender, of course, doesn't matter. This represents you taking steps, taking action, crossing things off your to-do list, working towards some goals that are very important to you, goals that might be attached to your ego or attached to a passion project, maybe even a career goals or something like that. So in this time where you're celebrating maybe your birthday, maybe some other kind of win or accomplishment that brings you into a time of feeling abundance or certainly safety, or a phase when you can treat yourself, where you're experiencing more pleasant times and positive opportunities. You're still looking ahead to future goals and making steps towards your plans and projects. So there you have it, Leo. I would definitely take this reading. I hope you like it. I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you in the next one. Take good care. Bye for now. Virgo, let's start with your Rune card. Three Zaz. Okay, so that one's a little bit prickly, but we'll see how that connects with your tarot card. Ooh. Queen of Pentacles, we have some jumpers here, so we'll take them all. Don't tell the other signs. Most folks are just getting a single tarot card. And then finally, your Wisdom of the Oracle card. And we've got a jumper. Oh, that's a nice one. So we've got Milk and Honey. We'll take those. Okay. So starting with your Rune card, Thurisas can be a little bit prickly. That could indicate a little bit of tension, needing to resolve a bit of tension. It's like kind of like having a thorn in your side, and needing to remove the thorn, resolve issues with someone, clear up sort of maybe a misunderstanding or resolve an issue. And interestingly, we have the Queen of Pentacles as one of your tarot jumpers. This could refer to you. because the Queen of Pentacles is often an earth sign, and of course Virgo is an earth sign. And she is typically an earthy, sort of detail-oriented character. Also, really good with not just details, but can be really good with sort of arts and crafts or entertaining, making the home beautiful, making people comfortable and entertaining, and hosting and that sort of thing. If it doesn't refer to you, it could be someone like that in your life that maybe you have an issue with, or maybe that you need to emulate and be a little more earthy or hospitable in terms of releasing an issue or resolving an issue, or someone like that you need to resolve an issue with. This could also refer to someone like a boss or a superior, or someone in some level of authority that you need to resolve an issue with. Kind of in the foundation, or underneath the other cards, is the Eight of Rods or the Eight of Wands, which signals messages coming in, a lot of opportunities. They typically, in my experience, have to do with passion projects or jobs, like if you've submitted resumes, if you're looking for a job, or if you've submitted yourself for a passion project, like for, say, a community theater play, if you've auditioned for a play or something you've submitted yourself for, or submitted a portfolio for, or something that you have some sort of ego attachment to, a passion project you're interested in, maybe even like a YouTube channel or some content you've created, and you're looking for more followers, or you're looking to collaborate with someone. This is where sort of the answers, or the invitations, or the interviews, or the job offers start returning, or their messages around that sort of thing. So you'll want to be sure to be checking all of your, email accounts, your text messages, any way that you might be receiving messages, all your social media channels. You don't want to miss any messages, because that could be the thing that leads to maybe a misunderstanding or an issue that might somewhere down the road need to be resolved. Now, I'm not going to overlook this card here. This is the Death card. And of course, anyone who's a fan of the tarot knows the Death card doesn't really refer to death. It refers to transformation, rebirth. And in order for a transformation, something else has to pass away or end in order for something new to begin. It's like that example of the caterpillar that has to, spin the cocoon and have a moment or a phase of sort of nothingness before it busts out of the cocoon to become the butterfly. And when the caterpillar does that, it's no longer a creature of the ground or the leaves or whatever. It's now a creature of the air, and it has a whole new life, right? So the fact that this card shows up, it indicates that there's a transformation coming, and that there's going to be a new life on the other side of it, a new role. So whatever these messages or invitations are bringing, it's comes with it a new life. And on the other side of it, we have the from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, the card of Milk and Honey, which is a place of feeling abundant and safe that is brought about by your own sort of accomplishment, like you having, enough to meet your needs, having enough to even treat yourself because of the accomplishments, because of what you have been able to achieve. So for me, this reading has more of a practical feel to it. It's not so much about interpersonal relationships or romantic relationships, maybe more about job or your kind of career path or even life path, in that there seems to be some issue to resolve. And it may be about life direction, some job you've applied for or business that you're setting up, passion project you're going after, something that you are at the helm of, that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's, being very detail oriented. And it might be in the arena of some sort of earth-based business, craft business, hosting, something like that. Or it may be some other sort of creative business, as rods or wands are associated with the arts and artistic endeavors. But whatever it is, it looks like there is a big change or a transformation on the horizon, that you're about to leave some other way of being, perhaps a job entirely. But whatever is coming next requires an entire transformation where you move forward in a whole new way, and it brings you a real sense of achievement, and a better sense of stability and comfort, and a real sense of abundance. That's a pretty big deal reading, Virgo. I hope you love it. Yeah, thank you so much for stopping by, Virgo. Until next time, take good care. Bye for now. Hello, Libra. Let's start with your rune card. Fehu. Nice. That's the rune of abundance. It's knowing what you have and trusting in your abundance. And for your tarot card, the World. And finally, a card from, jumped right out, the Fates. Okay. It's from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Let's get these all lined up. Okay. So, as we said in the beginning, Fehu is the rune of abundance. It's about knowing what you have and being open to prosperity. So what you have, not only in the bank, but knowing what you have talent-wise, knowing what you have in terms of relationships, the resources in your life, what you can count on, being open to receiving, being open to the abundance around you, opportunities that can afford you further abundance, sort of having that mentality of abundance and prosperity, as opposed to a mentality of poverty, or that sort of scarcity mentality. You know, sometimes when you grow up in a family or a situation where there's scarcity or struggle, it's hard to let go of that feeling of, or that fear that calamity is just around the corner. It's going to be hard to pay the bills, that scarcity mentality. And Fehu reminds us that the future can be abundant if we keep our eyes open to opportunities, if we trust in our resources and focus on what we have, not on what we lack. Your tarot card is the World, which is a liminal moment. It's that time right between the sort of end of a cycle, right before the beginning of a new cycle. So it's sort of like right after graduation, before you launch yourself into a new job, or the time right before, say, a mother gives birth, at the sort of end of a pregnancy, but before, becoming a mother, right when that role change is about to happen. Or maybe even right as you're retiring, before you, as you're tying up loose ends and you can see that role change in sight. Or it could even be as simple as you're about to take a vacation and you're handing off your kind of duties to a coworker before you get to enjoy your sort of 2 weeks summer vacation or whatever it is. It can be a big role change. It can be a smaller role change, but the World card tends to indicate a time when you are aware of a shift in roles, where you're in a kind of a liminal space where there's a ending that you're aware of, and you're about to launch into the sort of a freedom of a new beginning, where you get to turn a page or start a new chapter or begin again. There's kind of a sense of a fresh new start, and the celebration, the freedom that comes with that. Now, aligned with that is this card from the Wisdom of the Oracles that's called the Fates. And I love the beauty of this card because, let me see if we can get her in focus. It's kind of like this beautiful angel, right? And she's adorned with these golden stars, and she's got these gossamer wings, and she looks like she's utterly self-contained. But the wisdom of this card is actually not just in the freedom of flight, but this particular, I don't know if you want to call her a fairy or a spirit, is absolutely comfortable in the knowledge that there are things that she cannot change, that there are things that she has and places she can go in the world and the universe, and there are also things that she does not have access to, things that she cannot change, and she is comfortable with that. And that can be, a tricky lesson to learn, right? That there are places we can go, and there are things we can do if we can put our mind to it. But there are also limits to our flight, or limits to our knowledge. There are just things that will remain unseen or unknowable or ungoable. So the beauty in your reading, Libra, is that there is this reminder of an abundant universe, that you can have a mindset of prosperity, even if you don't win the lottery. Having enough is having abundance, and having the freedom to leave a situation or close a chapter and moving on to something new, even if you're not sure where you're going or where that will take you, and not having all the answers yet, having a sort of a question mark or a map where there are places that aren't yet defined. That's still a map, and that's no reason not to step through the doorway. This card reminds you that There will always be some unknowables. There will always be some unmovable things, even as you move forward and make progress and gain abundance. So Libra, I hope you feel the progress that is inherent, that is promised in this reading. Because I feel like there's the advice or the suggestion or the support here for you to move on or step through a door or start a new chapter, even if you don't have all the answers quite yet. That there is progress on the other side of an ending, whether it's a graduation or a move or a job change or some sort of role change. There is something in your old life that cannot be changed and that is unalterable. And so the only way to progress is to sort of go around the rock. I guess it's kind of that if God closes a door, he opens a window, whatever your concept of God might be. Yeah, however you need to move forward, there's progress and abundance to be had, even if you have to shimmy through the window. How about that? I believe in you, Libra. I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for dropping by, Libra. Until next time, bye for now. Hello, Scorpio. Let's start with your rune card. It was. Okay. That's movement, transformation. Can indicate like a journey. Now for your tarot card, we'll connect this movement, travel, journey with your tarot card. Hierophant can be sort of a teacher, sometimes a guru, can indicate community, tradition, being part of a collective collaboration. Now, from the wisdom of the oracle, Yang. That's the masculine principle, doing, taking risks, moving forward, taking action. Okay. Well, Scorpio, if you're looking for advice, this would be go for it. This would be take action. This would be a yes. This would be soon or now. Taking it one card at a time. This rune card is associated with like a horse or riding a horse or a horse and rider. So it can indicate sort of the collaboration between a horse and rider, how a horse and rider can kind of get to understand each other, kind of know what each other is thinking or know what each other needs, even without signs and speech or signals. So with the sort of moving forward and progress and travel and transformation, it's through sort of collaboration and partnership. And that's echoed here in the Hierophant, which not only speaks to this character of like a high priest, but you don't have a high priest without having like a following, without having a community that this high priest is teaching or leading. And the community that the Hierophant speaks to or teaches or leads is really as important as this sort of teacher figure, right? It's this community of like-minded folks that have shared values, shared goals. And like this partnership over here, it's this community sense that is really coming out in both of these cards. This sense of progress or shared values, or this need for building community, building something greater, or being a part of something greater than just, yourself. Collaboration, the transformation that comes from building something with another or with a group. So both of these cards suggest joining some kind of group or the potential for joining a group, whether it's like an artistic group, a band, a choir, a community theater. It could also be going back to school. It could be formal training or informal training, getting together with friends for a book club or something like that. But there's definitely the sense in this reading that progress is made or some sort of transformation is made within a partnership or a group setting. And there's a sense of learning or shared values that is at the heart of this. Now, finally, with the Yang card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, as I mentioned before, this is all about taking action. It's, again, it supports the partnership piece as well, right? Because it could be taking action with a crush or a lover, asking someone out, but it could also be about business or entrepreneurial issues, seeking collaborators, looking for a funder. It could be the sort of thing where you're submitting resumes or interviewing or auditioning or that sort of thing. But with all of these other, pieces, suggesting partnership or community efforts, it really feels more like a collaborative, or business partner seeking merger kind of piece. There could also be branding yourself, marketing yourself, launching a social media channel or marketing yourself in a more sort of global way, putting your message or your product or your project or your vision out there in a very visual, consumable way. This says, I am here. This says, this is who I am. This is about being proud, but also being confident in groups, being confident of your vision, being confident to share yourself or your project or all of the above. Scorpio, I think this reading is all about you sharing yourself and your projects with others, individuals and groups and globally, in a clear, bold way. I hope that resonates with you. I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for stopping by. Until next time, take good care. Bye for now. Hello, Sagittarius. Let's start with your rune card. Rado. It's about travel, movement. Staying flexible, being ready to take risks, being ready to move towards your goal. Now, for your tarot card. Knight of Cups. Knights can also be about movement, about moving towards goals, about moving towards what you want. And cups, of course, are about emotions, feelings, satisfaction, bonds and bonding, relationships. Finally, we're going to pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Why? Okay. Okay, this is interesting. So I just got to call it like I see it, Sagittarius. Raido is the rune of the wheel. So it's about travel, it's about movement, it's about making progress towards movement, but it can also be about running away, right? It can be about moving too fast. Sometimes it can be about being reckless. As I mentioned before, when the Knight of Cups comes up, it can be about moving towards relationships. It can be about moving towards a crush, asking out a crush. It can also be about a player. It can be about, having a lot of love interests or crushes, and maybe not a lot of roots in relationships, or maybe not deep roots in relationships. And then we have the Y card from the Wisdom of the Oracle, which is a card about reminding you to spend some time in reflection about your own sort of motivations, especially if you come to a reading wanting answers or wanting certain results. Maybe knowing your own motivations about why you've made certain choices or haven't made certain choices or haven't taken certain actions or have made certain actions. Why have you made those choices or not? And knowing your own motivations and maybe altering some or just having awarenesses can bring you different results, or at least inspire different sorts of conversations, especially in the realm of relationships, if that's what you're here for. Now, if you're a Sagittarius who is not especially interested in relationships, this might not be the reading for you. And if so, feel free to jump ahead to one of your other placements. But this particular reading reads very much like someone who is maybe running away from relationships, or not having really deep attachments, or is having attachments with folks who aren't attaching to them. That's really how this particular these cards are landing. So the advice here is absolutely that you can roll in towards someone who can have deep feelings for you, but the missing piece here might be sort of your own intentions, your own motivations, and there might be some inner work that could happen here, some own sort of shadow work, maybe some of your own knee-jerk reaction, some stuff you haven't yet brought to conscious awareness that could help you bring more of what you want and deserve into the light and into sort of 3D or 5D or however you want to look at it. I would say the thing about the cups suit, is that it can also be about therapy, right? Because it's about emotions. And when we have our sort of childhood stuff, our shadow stuff all worked out, then that's reflected in our relationships. And if we're not getting what we need and deserve in relationships, it typically indicates there's some inner stuff we kind of need to work through. I recently had an amazing breakthrough just by watching a little thing on YouTube where I realized, and maybe it was something I kind of had a sort of niggling awareness of, but somebody just kind of put it into a certain way that I finally got it, about a certain kind of authenticity that I had not been bringing to my relationships. And it just made, the way this particular person put it, made so much sense to me. And it finally brought to conscious awareness for me something that I'd been stumbling around with in my relationships. And it's still something I need to work with, but at least now it's in conscious awareness and I can practice in my relationships with this particular issue that I have. So, Sagittarius, my dear, that is what I think is going on here. And there's no shame. There is no shame in working on your shadow stuff or, family of origin issues, or it could even be whatever went down in your last relationship that you're still kind of carrying forward and maybe coloring how you're moving forward. Or it could even be in your current relationship, a thing that was said or something that, you launched with and maybe you haven't kind of worked through some stuff. This card is suggesting there's something in the realm of your own sort of motivations that is not in conscious awareness that could be brought forward, that could help kind of settle this into something a little more of what you want and deserve. Now, so let's just review, because this can play out a few different ways. If you're a single person who is not in an established relationship but is looking for a relationship, a romantic type relationship, this is the rune of, movement towards a goal. So you can be moving towards a romantic relationship. There is absolutely this is moving towards it, with the caveat that you do a little bit of inner reflection and a little bit of inner work. And that, the potential that is out there will require a little practice and a little work as as you go. If you're someone who is already in an established relationship, there is progress available within that relationship, again, with the caveat that there's a little work that can be done. If you're someone who is not interested in a romantic relationship, there is still progress available for general relationships, general connections, just for you in terms of your own mental, emotional health, in terms of, this could speak to, honestly, addiction issues and getting to the root of addiction issues by doing, therapy and work there, family of origin issues, anything that could respond to therapy. That is very much here in this reading as well. This supports that. And finally, there's also, for any artists out there, there's also the progress for artistic goals. If you identify as an artistic person, again, using your sort of family of origin issues or any shadow work, anything like that in your art, you could clear any blockages or creative blocks, that sort of thing, by doing shadow work or reflecting on your motives, your sort of intentions, and using that in your art. So, Sagittarius, you absolutely win the prize for being sort of the most specific and most clear, most direct, obvious reading so far in this this video. I have to say this other thing too, as an example, because I had a former roommate who was a Sagittarius, and the first thing I thought of when this popped up was this former roommate. And this was decades ago when we were both young and dewy. And she had this really sweet boyfriend. I thought he was wonderful and wonderful to her. But she kind of was in a place where she wasn't really available for him in the way he was available for her. She was a Sagittarius, if I hadn't mentioned that already. And so sometimes she would just go on a drive. Like, he would want to meet up with her and she would just be like, I'm not available. And she would literally get in her car and just go on a drive for a couple hours so that she could be literally unavailable to him. And I only mention that because this has to do with this rune, Raido, has to do with the wheel. And so sometimes it can literally refer to a car. So if you're one of those Sagittarians that gets in their car and drives around to like avoid talking to a partner, spouse, crush, whatever it is, I'm just putting it out there. That can be, a Sagittarius thing. But again, maybe being fair to your crush or partner or whatever it is, exploring why this sort of avoidance thing is more comfortable. Like, nobody wants to hurt their partner. Nobody wants to have those uncomfortable conversations. Nobody does. But it's also not karmically cool to leave a sweet person hanging, right? If there's a good partner who deserves a good partner and it's not going to be you, maybe set them free so they can go find a good partner who won't run away or roll away. You know what I mean? Just throwing that out there, for your good karma. So that, I'll stop preaching. I just say that with love and with concern for your karma. In any case, I totally support you. I see you and I support you. I hope this reading is helpful. And until next time, please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. Hi, Capricorn. Let's start with your rune card. Oop, upside down. Jera. I don't take reversals in this reading, so. Jera. Okay, so that's about the harvest, also about cycles and ending cycles. Now we'll do your tarot. Okay. Eight of Cups. It's about walking away from something that's walking away from something or walking towards something. Finally, we're going to pick a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle divination deck. Oops, we got a jumper. Okay, we'll take it. Regeneration. Okay. Okay, wow. Oh, I love it. That's so beautiful. Okay, Capricorn, so what I see here is that something has, run its course. Something is ready for its harvest. It's ready to be cut down. That's the Jera card can be very much about the harvest card, that it has had its season, that it is, season is done now. Its season is over. It's no longer blooming, that it's time to move on, right? The Eight of Cups is the moving away from something that is no longer working, moving towards something that may be a better fit. Sometimes in the Eight of Cups sort of phase, we're moving away from something without a game plan. Sometimes we do have a game plan. Sometimes we know we're moving, maybe to college or maybe to a new house or to a new job. But just as often, we're quitting a job without a great plan, or we're dropping out of school because we realize that particular program is not what we thought it would be, or we're not made to be whatever we were training for, or we're leaving a roommate situation because it's toxic or something like that. Obviously, this is a general reading, so it's going to hit different Capricorns in different ways. So you'll know like which situation you're in, obviously. But I feel like there is some feeling of a success in a way, like a harvest, like an awareness that something is done, but still that feeling of it's difficult to move on. It doesn't, sometimes when you know something is over, it's still hard to move on. It still feels almost depressing to move on. Even when like you've graduated school, it can be hard to go out, leave some of your friends behind and go out into the, and make a career. Or if you leave a job because it's toxic, there are still some friends there you might like, or something like that. It seems like there is something that has come to an end, and it is done, but it's still hard to sort of, even though it's time, it's right, it's still hard to walk away from it. But at the same time, on the other side of this ending, once you fully like cut all those ties, because it feels like right now you're in the place where you're finalizing that ending. Like if it's a job situation, maybe you've given notice, but you haven't quite packed up your desk. You're still like training the next person to take over your position, or if you're leaving a toxic roommate situation, maybe it's you're not moving out yet. You're moving out at the end of July. I'm recording this in the middle of July, so maybe you're moving out at the end of the month or something like that. So maybe you've made the decision, but it hasn't quite finished yet. So on the other side of this, when it's completely over, there's this rebirth, right? I love this. This card is so beautiful, even though it's like, I don't know if you can see it really well, but there's that glare, but it's like, you know, after there's a forest fire, it's kind of the scorched earth. Then like the next year when you see the little buds of the trees and there's the regrowth there. I mean, that sounds kind of almost violent, but like the growth that comes after a sort of a pruning, there's still like, there's still growth that can come from this land. Or like in the explanation of the harvest over here, when you harvest the land and it's, you know, barren for, you know, the winter, things will grow again in the spring as long as you plant the seeds. So it's not like an ending forever, right? There's still going to be growth. There's still something to bloom again, or something to rebuild from, just not necessarily in the exact same field. I guess that's kind of a terrible, just not in the same field. I very much get the feeling from this Eight of Cups that you're moving away from something, like a living situation or a job. Maybe it's you're moving departments in your job, or maybe a roommate is moving out, but for whatever reason, there is some kind of a change that requires, you know, some kind of rebuilding, right? And you will know, you know, in what area of your life that sort of moving on is happening, and where that sort of regeneration, that new growth is going to happen. The other thing we have to say about this reading is that it feels, how can I put this? It may feel to you like a sort of a failure, or it feels bad in this to you, but it's not a failure. In fact, there are opportunities that are coming out of this change, and I just want to be so clear about that. There's also in this card, there's typically the not just opportunities, but sometimes second chances. Like when you walk away from this thing, you'll be able to get a perspective that you didn't have when you were there in this toxic environment, whatever it was. Sometimes when you're in a toxic place, you're so like focused on what isn't working that there are like options and opportunities and people and relationships around you that you're just missing because you're so stuck on the ick. You're so focused on what isn't working that you're not seeing all the good stuff that's happening around you. So once you kind of get yourself out of the icky stuff, then you'll be able to see some of the other stuff. There'll be like second chances, there'll be opportunities, and that's what the regeneration speaks to. Some of the stuff you may have missed while you were, stuck, just absolutely focused on one little icky thing over here. You'll be able to like maybe relationships, maybe other projects or other opportunities. It's going to be specific to you and your situation, you know, but second chances or new opportunities will become available, and you will see them now that you're not looking only at the icky, toxic, whatever thing that you needed to get away from over here. Capricorn, I hope that's helpful, because what you're doing right now, as difficult as it is, it's really going to open up new opportunities for you. You're doing the right thing. I support you. Keep moving away from the toxic and towards the new opportunities, even though it feels challenging, even though it's like ripping off that Band-Aid. You'll be better for it. Please take care of yourself. Until next time, bye for now. Hi, Aquarius. Let's start with your rune card. Okay. Now these, it's about need. Don't panic. Now we'll go with your tarot card. See how they all connect. Eight of Cups, okay. And then finally a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Okay. TikTok. All right. So this is the need rune. We've got the Eight of Cups and TikTok. So the need rune is about being aware of not having all your needs met. It's about being aware of a sense of lack. That sounds terrible, but really what happens under the influence of this rune is it kicks in a sort of a sense of perseverance, or a sense of it's kind of like, pardon my French, but it's kind of like the butt kicking rune. It like gets yourself out there and coming up with creative solutions to get your needs met, to take care of business. Sometimes you have to come up with creative solutions or workarounds, or you know, you have to reach out to friends or relatives, or you know, it motivates you to, especially like if you have kids, if you have a partner, it makes you, it inspires you to get out of a sense of apathy or depression to, you know, take care of yourself or your kids or whatever it is. So it's not actually a bad rune. It's kind of like a jump start to motivation. It can be about releasing negativity because you have to get stuff done. Now, next to that, we have the Eight of Cups, which is not unlike this card in that it acknowledges something is not working, something is no longer a good fit, and it is time to move on. Sometimes it comes up when you have such an overwhelming emotional need for something else. Like if you're working in one industry and it is just not fulfilling you, and you realize, I really can't be an accountant anymore. I have to be a chef. And I need to do what I need to do to fulfill this creative need. That's just one example. It could be the sort of thing where you realize you're in such a toxic situation that you have to move on. Like you're in a roommate situation and one of your roommates is terribly toxic, like they're an incredible alcoholic, and you simply cannot live in that situation anymore. And you have to move out. So it could be that sort of thing. The Eight of Cups is that phase when you know you have to leave a situation, either because it doesn't fit you because it's unhealthy, or it doesn't fit you because it doesn't fulfill you emotionally, spiritually. It doesn't fulfill you. And these are both valid reasons to walk away from something. Because this is next to the need rune, it could really be either of those things, right? Your need for, creative fulfillment is a valid reason to leave, an industry. Life is short, and, being happy and fulfilled is a valid reason to leave an industry, especially if you've been diligent and put aside a little bit for retirement, or, a little bit aside to at least go to chef school or whatever it is. That's valid. Or the need to get away from a crazy alcoholic and be safe and in your own place. That's a true need. And to troubleshoot both of those situations, that would speak to what's at the heart of this rune. So next, TikTok. So TikTok is a card that comes up typically when we are afraid we don't have enough time for XYZ, especially for those of us in the middle age, especially for those of us who realize, oh my God, I'm in the middle age and I'm in a profession I hate. Or, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle age and I'm married to someone that I am no longer in love with. Or, oh my gosh, I don't have time to change this, or, whatever it is. We can have so much fear about how much time we have left, or, oh my gosh, I'm 27 and I was supposed to be married by now, or whatever it is. So often we have set aside a specific timeline for ourselves, or we worry about how much time we have left to do X, Y, or Z. And this card reminds us that while there are timelines we don't get to alter, there are timelines we shouldn't worry about. If we haven't found love by 27 or 57, that doesn't mean we won't find it. We can still find love at any age if we still put ourselves out there, if we still endeavor, if we still, if we still work towards it, we can. The only time we can't find love is when we give up, So even if you've been an accountant for 30 years, there's still time to become a chef if you try. Even if you are 28 and you thought you'd be married by 27, there's still time to find love. But maybe it's time to bust up that timeline you had for when you were supposed to be married, or, maybe it's time to let go of timelines for love. reconsidering your timelines for yourself is what this card is all about, and allowing yourself the grace to be the person you want to be, no matter how long it takes. How about that? So just to review, Aquarius, this card recognizes that you have needs that have not yet been met, or that you're becoming aware of needs that you really want to do something about. And that means walking away from something in order to meet those needs. And while there may be a fear that you don't have time, or it may be too late to meet those needs, you can just let that go. Let go of any timelines or worries about timelines, and get creative about moving towards that goal or that need, or finding that satisfaction. Okay? Aquarius, I hope that's helpful. I hope you're inspired. In any case, thank you so much for stopping by. Until next time, take good care. Bye for now. Pisces, let's start with your rune card. Okay. Ansus, an answer. Messages, communication, signs, symbols. And your tarot card is next. Oop, we have a jumper, 5 of rods. Okay. And then finally, we're going to go with a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Okay. Time to go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel this one, Pisces. All right. So starting with your rune on Zeus, it's the card of communications, and not just any communications, but it's often associated with communications from the universe, spirit, source, however you understand God, goddess, source, energy, universal consciousness, if you want to understand it that way. Or you could understand it as just being receptive to signs and symbols, synchronicities, feeling connected to the world around you, and knowing that you're supported by a benevolent universe. This rune suggests that there are answers to your questions. There are messages for you all around you. And if anyone is receptive enough to those kinds of messages, it would be you, Pisces. Now, the 5 of rods, or the 5 of wands, is a little bit chaotic. And I've seen this particular card show up a couple of ways. For me, this has shown up as kind of chaos in the workplace, where there's too many bosses and not enough underlings. Like, nobody's quite sure who's doing what. People have a lot of opinions, but nobody's really doing the work. Or, people have a lot of opinions about a passion project. It could be the sort of thing where, like, someone's getting married, and both the mother and the mother-in-law to be and all of the cousins and sisters have ideas of who should be wearing what and what the color should be, and whether it's in a church or outside or whatever. And there's a lot of conflict and bad feelings and chaos around the planning of it. It can go that way. But I've also seen this sort of chaos happen around individual issues. Like, this has happened for me. This kind of chaos has happened for me personally when I have so many individual messages, appointments, interviews, obligations, friends, colleagues, like that. When I have to remember so many elements, when I'm carrying like a purse and a thing I need for work and a thing I need for an interview and a thing I need to remember, and I have to bring something to the post office for my Etsy shops, and I have to remember to, bring an extra outfit for this interview, and, just I have to remember 87 things to have in the car for the 87 appointments and places I have to stop off in a day. And it's just chaos, and I don't love my day because it's so much to remember. So the fact that this is showing up for you and right next to all of, these messages, it could indicate not just the symbolism and the answers that you want, but if you happen to be in a phase where you are looking for a job, or you're looking for a date, or you're looking for more connections, you could be getting them, but in a kind of a chaotic way. If you're looking for answers, if you're looking for connections, you could be getting them, but having a hard time, sort of connecting the dots, or getting them for a number of different sort of areas of your life. And I say that in part because of this final card here from the Wisdom of the Oracle, Time to Go. This is clearly an ending, right? It's leaving something, quitting something. It could be a relationship. It could be a job. It could be school, a school program. It could be a project that you're no longer aligned with. It could be a collaboration that you're no longer aligned with. For different Pisces, it's going to be different. Full disclosure, I am Pisces rising. I always check my Pisces horoscope or taroscope first. I feel this one so hard. I know where this is for me. I know where this is for me. I know where this is for me. Yeah. I'm going to show you this little piece too. I hope you can see it in this card. Trying to get it out of the glare. Oh boy. I don't know if you can see it. Way back in the end, our main character is running away from something, but you'll see there's a little door there in the back, right? She's running towards something. She's not just running to the exit, but I like to think that that little door is to something. It's not just the exit. She's going somewhere. So whatever these answers are, I know for me, I'm waiting for the universe to give me an answer for something that I want behind this door, right? And maybe you're like me, maybe you're a Pisces like me, that all this chaos, the waiting for, these other people that have ideas for me, and, my own kind of internal chaos and turmoil. You may be waiting for, whatever is behind this door to come through over here too. The fact that this comes up for you, for us, there is a message coming. We do have a little more chaos. There is a little bit more uncertainty, externally, internally, probably both. But the answers are coming. So pack your bags. Wherever this kind of exit is for you, it's happening. It's already, it's got to happen, right? Whatever is next. For me, I'm not sure where I'm headed next, but I know it's time to go. And I'll just wait for the destination. I'll wait for the signs and synchronicities. If you get any signs and symbols or destinations, please feel free to share it in the comments. I'd love to hear where you're headed, or what messages you get if you'd like to share, my fellow fishies. One more thing I'd like to say about this. As chaotic as it is, I would like to point out that the rods, aka wands, are the symbol of passion projects or creative projects. We could have gotten a yuckier card here. We could have gotten like the Five of Swords, which is way less fun. But wands or rods indicate a passion project, something that is connected to like our heart, our passion, kind of our ego, our name. So the fact that it's chaotic is not great, but it at least speaks to, something that's close to our heart, something that's close to our identity. So I wanted to validate that for you. And also I want to point out the bunting over here. And this central character, this main character energy here, she is passing under the bunting. Now, bunting is for parties. So even though it can be kind of difficult to exit, and she's not just exiting, she's fleeing. She looks like she couldn't be, she's trying to escape with like, I don't know, sort of Cinderella energy, Cinderella fleeing the ball. But at the same time, she's got bunting here. So there's a celebration that she's leaving behind an experience that there is nothing more to be gained from this. She's learned everything she can learn from this experience. She has grown as much as she can grow from this experience. And I'm just using female pronouns out of habit slightly because I'm referring to myself, perhaps. No matter your gender or expression, this main character can celebrate that she has, in a sense, graduated from this experience, and it's now time to go. She doesn't want to overstay her welcome, or they don't want to overstay their welcome, right? It's time to go and to go on to bigger and better things. And that is something to celebrate, that they have completed, their course of learning, as it were, or completed their role in this place, as it were. So let's celebrate that, even though it's a little bit chaotic at this point, and we may not know where it is, where we're headed just yet. But it's time to go, and we recognize that, and hooray. So that's where I'll leave it for Pisces. Congratulations. Happy landings. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take good care of yourself. Until next time. Bye for now.